Dame Dash does not seem to be able to catch a break these days. From having to sell his stake in Rockefeller Records or Reasonable Doubt to his teeth falling out during a live stream, it's like death by 1,000 cuts for Mr. Dash. Dame owes money in every facet that you can imagine. Lawsuits, child support, back taxes. The only thing he probably doesn't owe is student loans. But if he did, he would definitely be in that 270-day default program because he doesn't seem to be able to pay back any of the stuff he owes. And now his wife is having to sell their assets in order to pay off their debts. But before we get into that, I want to list off what it's alleged that he owes at this point. Right now, where we stand, he owes $800,000 to a movie producer, $4 million for a defamation suit, $8 million in back taxes, $78,000 plus interest in another judgment. We're going to get into that later. And he might be back to zero on the child support from having to sell his stake in Rockefeller Records. But he still has a lot of debts going on. And the only thing I can think of right now is the interview or the podcast that Cam did when he was talking about how Dame spends so much money and how he lives so lavishly.
Well, this is a particular so-and-so. You know, Dame is very smart and has a high vocabulary. Start using words to confuse you. You know, Dame taught me what the word fiduciary means, but y'all probably don't even know what fiduciary means. But Dame is very articulate, very smart. But I don't care. You're independent or you're not. That's the point. Back to the him not having money thing. He shouldn't have to work for anything. Look, yeah, my bad. But like with Dame, I would love to do the things Dame did. Fly private for 5 years straight. Buy 2 mansions in London. You got a mansion in London just for your niggas and then a personal mansion in London for something else or renting them or whatever. You just got mansions in London. We not even from London. We just going to fucking London, hanging out, not saying, I put on my artists or really, more Jim and Jewels, but we was all Dipset, SAS. Just out in London spending money. I would love to have 2 lofts in Tribeca right around the corner for each other. $20,000 for this loft, $20,000 for that loft around the corner. So you got $40,000 a month for just lofts. Airfare, flying everywhere.
So we can see that Dame is frivolous with his money, right? And he's not unlike a lot of people that get rich young. He started in his early 20s. That's when him, Jay, Biggs, that's when they started Rockefeller Records. So when that money is pouring in, you're getting it every which way. You're blowing it on cars, chains, women, all types of stuff. And for a long time, even after that business dissolved, that music business dissolved, people were saying that Dame had excellent business acumen. Now, I did a video a couple of months ago, and I was saying that Dame was going broke. And somebody in the comments actually informed me, hey, even though he's having to sell his stake in Roc Nation, even though his teeth are falling out, he can't afford good dental work. That's a joke. He probably can't afford good dental work. But even though he can't afford good dental work and his teeth are falling out, he has other businesses. So I went and checked it out. And I found out he does have the Dash Group, which is under his wife's name right now, in an attempt to protect his assets so that he didn't end up in the situation that he's in. And he had a few other businesses that were keeping him afloat. He had a streaming service. He had a kids book. He had a platform called CEO by Dash. But the judge is saying, hey, even though you tried to obfuscate who owns this stuff so that we wouldn't come after you personally, your wife has to sell it in order to pay your debt or you're going to jail. So this his bad business moves are finally catching up to him. Now, I think that some of his debts are a result of the way that he handles his relationships with people. It seems like for whatever reason, everything that he touches turns to ash because he's too stubborn and refuses to treat people with respect. We remember when he went on the Breakfast Club and he was basically shitting on DJ Envy, telling him that he's a worker. he don't own nothing there. He seems like the type of guy who's not paying you on time, if he's going to pay you at all. And he's perfectly okay with doing you dirty in the name of getting to his success. And in the beginning, I mentioned that he had a $78,000 judgment. And he owes somebody for stealing their IP, their intellectual property, and turning it into a product for himself. At some point, we've got to say that Dame is getting in his own way, that his problems are of his own making. And more than anything, I'm looking at this situation, and to me, it's sad. Someone who has so much potential, so much opportunity, and they seem to be the roadblock that's in their own way. Because we have to remember, getting money is only one part of it. You also have to maintain it, because you never know if that one source that you're getting it from is going to dry up, i.e. Rock Nation falling apart, him having to sell his stake in that, not being able to get royalties off of that. And even more than that, when you're getting the money, maintaining the money, you have to grow the money as well, which Dame was trying to do with his multiple businesses. But he had so much going out, based on what we heard Cam say, that he was never going to be able to keep up in the first place. That's why he couldn't pay his taxes. That's why he can't pay these lawsuits. Now, where are all the people that were friends with him, eating with him on his way up? They're nowhere to be seen. They partied, they got drunk with him, they benefited off of that friendship, and now they're nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, he might go to jail if he doesn't come up with the lawsuit money, with the tax money.
Like, to be honest, to me, the amount of people that I actually put on, I should never be broke, ever in life. I should never have to fund nothing. I should never have to struggle. I should just look like it should just be an anonymous bag with money all the time. The amount of people whose lives I've changed, if they were like on it like that, I shouldn't even have to move. But it seems like the people that I help the most, they end up resenting me the most. I don't know why.
Dame is talking about people that he's looked out for, people that he's put on. And I doubt that it's charity. Yes, you've worked with people on projects. But he said in his own words on that Breakfast Club interview, he's nobody's boss. If you did business together, he partners with you. So there was a mutually beneficial relationship. You got the talent that you needed for whatever it is that you had going on at the time, and they got the money, they got the opportunity. But it seems to be that you're difficult. And if you're difficult to be around, you better have a lot of benefits that people are going to get from you. Because when they dry up, the people are going to go. And that's what we're seeing with Dame Dash. So now he has no friends, no money. He's having to sell his businesses, or his wife is having to sell the businesses in order to pay debts for his continuous bad decision making and bad financial situations. It's sad to see, man. Hopefully he can pull himself out of this, but this is looking like the final nail in the coffin for him, at least at this point. Those are my thoughts. If you like the video, subscribe to me back here for the next conversation. And if you have something to say, let the world know. This is the place for discourse. Until next time, peace.